And today's episode, we continue to explore the area of transactional analysis and particularly look at the area of the Karpman drama triangle. Sarah, why don't you give us a recap of where we got to from the last episode?
Yes, thanks, Gregor. So in our last episode, we spent a little bit of time exploring the kind of the core kind of foundation, I guess, of transactional analysis, where we explored those three ego states. So parent, adult, and child. And really, we were just exploring how, when we're in an interaction with another person, we can often be triggered into acting from a particular ego state. And so we've got our parent and our child ego states, which are from the past, so their beliefs, experiences, and behaviors that we've learned from the past, and we can find ourselves responding from that place. And the reason we wanted to kind of lead today into the drama triangle is when we get kind of pulled into that pattern, that's often when we can get into what in TA language we call a game with another person. And coaches love the drama triangle, don't they? Because it really allows us to work with our clients to really break through relationship challenges, which come up all the time in coaching. And it illuminates those behavioral patterns that are unconscious most of the time and perfectly normal, perfectly natural. We all have them, we all do it. But it provides a really brilliant lens to look at those dynamics between people. So that's why I wanted to do it in a visual way today for our podcast.
Yeah, and I think that thing is, like everybody does them, is people will have been studying TA and done a lot of work on themselves for 20 or 30 years, and still they'll go, oh, I'm in a game. Everybody does it. It's very natural. But what we hopefully, one of the things you'll get out of this session is you'll be able to recognize often when a game is occurring, so you don't have to play the game.
Exactly.
So one of the things we realize we really need to do before we get into like game theory, etc., is just to go through the concept of I'm okay, you're okay. Hmm? Now, I'm okay, you're okay is a concept in TA, and what it means is I'm okay with me and I'm okay with you. I actually don't know what status where Sarah's coming from, but I'm okay with me and I'm okay with her. Yeah, and it's a very adult perspective if we're thinking about the pack model. Yeah, but there are three other states as well, and those are the states that are present in the games. And so there's I'm okay with me and I'm not okay with you. So I'm okay, you're not okay. So that might be angry at Sarah for doing something, I think she's done something wrong, or I think I need to rescue her because I think, oh, she's really vulnerable or whatever. And then there's the victim position, which is I'm not okay, you're okay. So there's something wrong with me compared to you. And lastly, there's the futility position, which doesn't really turn up in the game, which is I'm not okay, you're not okay, which means, you know what? I've done everything I possibly can and I've made a difference and you're never going to change. So what's the point?
Yeah.
Okay. And authentic communication, really authentic communication only works from I'm okay, you're okay, because always where we want to be. And one of the things is when we detect a game, we know that I'm okay, you're not okay, and I'm not okay, you're okay are present.
Yes, and I think the this concept of I'm okay, you're okay, for some reason I've not always found that easy to get my head around. So I'm just thinking for our listeners and people who are watching this, for me, if I sort of try and translate that, and it's sort of building on what you've said there, which is I see myself as okay, I have value to add, I have self-esteem, you know, I'm a good person in this situation, and I actually hold you in that same regard. So I don't see you as lacking in any way or, you know, needing my help and support. I see you as adult and perfectly capable of asking for what you might need in that situation. I don't know if that helps, but I just...
No, that's perfect. And it's, you know, when people say separate the person from the behavior, like, yeah, I'm okay with me and I'm okay with you. You may have done something that's really bad, but I still hold you with positive regard, which allows me to work with you. If I'm really judging you, that's going to put you on the defensive and I'm not going to be able to work with you. So I want to be in I'm okay, you're okay. So I wanted to cover that first.
Yeah, because we'll talk about that quite a bit as we go. And the other thing is, as human beings, and this is one of the reasons we get pulled into these games, is we really want to belong and to feel connected with other human beings, we want recognition, don't we? And in TA language, there's a word that we use, which is strokes, isn't there? Do you want to talk a little bit about the story?
Yeah, so strokes are any unit of recognition, but we use the word strokes. And the reason we use the word strokes is that Bern talked about, like, human beings. It's like, imagine our spinal cord, we need to be stroked, you know, and that's what we all need. Cuddles are a stroke, you know, a kiss is a stroke, a wink is a stroke. You're looking good, like I said this morning, you've had your hair done, you know, that's a stroke, yeah? So they're all units of recognition, but humans deeply need these, and it's just something we need. All humans need that. And if we don't get positive strokes, we'll create situations that we get negative strokes, because negative strokes are better than no strokes at all. So everybody knows that if you don't give attention to teenagers, what do? They act up because they're not getting enough attention. So it's a really simple explanation of people need strokes. But there's a lovely allegory, I think, really demonstrates it, and it's the allegory of the witch and the warm fuzzies. And so if you can imagine, there's a village where everybody is happy and everybody is healthy. And the reason is they all have a little pouch on their belt, which has an infinite supply of warm fuzzies. And a warm fuzzy makes you feel warm and fuzzy. Now, because you've got an infinite supply, you don't mind giving them to other people. If they look a little bit unhappy, you'll give them a warm fuzzy. If you're not feeling so great, you give yourself a warm fuzzy. So everybody always feels good, because as soon as anything bad happens, you get a warm fuzzy, which is a positive stroke. Now, one day into the village walks in a witch, and she makes her money and makes her living by selling potions. But nobody's unhappy and nobody's unhealthy in this village. So she sets a rumor going that there's a shortage of warm fuzzies. So people start holding them back. They're not feeling so good themselves, but they say, "Oh, save my warm fuzzy because I might need it later." And they see someone else looking sad, and they don't give the warm fuzzy out because there's a shortage. And then the witch is able to sell her potions. And that's what human beings have become like. We restrict our strokes. We don't give them when we should necessarily give them. We don't give them to ourselves. And so we have this stroke economy. Now, this is where games come about, because if we're not getting enough strokes, positive strokes, we will create situations unconsciously to get any strokes we can, and those are negative strokes. So that's like the setup for what games are about.
Okay.
And to go back and reaffirm, the reason that coaches really love the drama triangle and explaining it to clients is it allows clients to see, oh, this is what's going on.
And that often
it's
like a light bulb goes off and they go, oh, right, yes.
That's what's going on.
Yeah.
So I'm going to share my screen.
Yeah.
And we are going to explain how games work. Now, let me share this and animate this screen before it's too confusing. Right, so we're talking about the Cartman drama triangle. And on this, there are three basic positions that we can talk about. And first of all, there's the victim position we've talked about, and that's I'm not okay, you're okay. There's the rescuer position, and that is I'm okay, you're not okay. Sarah, say some more about a rescuer.
So from a rescue position, it's a real desire to just fix and just make things okay for everybody else. Yeah, so their view is that everybody else isn't capable. They all need rescuing in some way. Yeah. And the third position is the persecutor. That's also coming from I'm okay, you're not okay, but everybody's useless. Yeah, I'm good, but they're just useless. Yeah. 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 And any of these positions happen, and people can enter into a game. What happens is during a game, people will switch positions, and that's when the negative emotions come up, but they're still strokes. So when people talk about games, we'll talk about a switch. So we're going to go through
a game for you, to give you an example. And the game is a very common game that you see in businesses and life all the time. It's a game called Poor Me. Right? So I'm working at my desk, I've got a lot on, and I invite Sarah into a game, or anybody else walking around, by this big sigh. I don't need to do this big sigh, but I'm unconsciously inviting people into a game. I'm going, big dramatic sigh.
And I walk by and I hear Gregor sigh, and I'm gonna say, "Oh, Gregor, you all right? Had a big sigh then. Everything okay?"
I've just got this report. I've got all this stuff to do. There's stuff going on at home, but I really need to get my head down.
Well, okay, I can help you with that. Why don't I do the report for you? I've got time in my diary. I can totally do that for you.
No. I only know the detail. Like, this is good. Look, actually, can you just leave me alone?
I was only trying to help.
Right. So what has happened there is now I've got really angry and frustrated, and Sarah's upset that all she was doing to try to help. So what's happened in the game is she's coming to rescue her. I'm the victim, but I have moved up to persecutor. I've now switched the persecutor, and I persecute Sarah. Can you just not leave me alone? You're such a busybody, I might say. You know, at which point she moves down to victim, as she's been persecuted by me. She might storm off.
I probably would.
Yeah.
I'd go off to the
Yeah.
kitchen and I'd be like, for God's sake, Gregor, just chew my head off. I was like trying to help him.
Yeah, and involve somebody else in the game where they're both okay and I'm not okay. Oh yeah, Gregor's always like that. So then another game comes up. But you can see the idea.
Yeah.
We've both had a lot of negative strokes, but we've got strokes and we're in a drama triangle. So that is why we like to highlight this model so much to clients, because you can see what's going on.
And the important thing, just to pause for a moment here, is the feeling. So one of the ways you know that you've been caught up in a game or been invited into a game is how you feel. So given that I've stormed off to the kitchen and I'm having a good old moan about you, there's a big red flag there that maybe I've been pulled into a game, and you're likely to be feeling irritated and frustrated, yet you're still overwhelmed. So you're also not feeling great.
Yeah, and I actually might be feeling a little bit better about myself, you know, because it's confirming my victim position.
Yes.
You know, but I've had these negative feelings. So negative feelings normally indicates there will have been a game there someplace.
And in terms of the strokes, I was just thinking about the strokes that I might be looking for in rescuer is sort of the acknowledgement that I'm valued, that I'm appreciated, that I'm helpful. And those things make me feel good.
Yeah, in fact, I mean, what might have happened if I wasn't interested in the gameplay is I might have been rescued by you.
Yeah.
You know, and you might have got some strokes out of it, some positive strokes out of it. We would have maintained these positions, and you'll see this in teams all the time, whereas the boss rescues the employee is quite happy with it and trains the boss to do their work for them. And actually, they end up in this symbiotic relationship, which is not good, because the boss comes to a coach and they're useless at delegating because they're so nice.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, so it doesn't. We were given the example of poor me, but you can have this relationship which is actually not very healthy. Whereas you have a rescuer and a victim together, they both maintain those positions, but they're not going to move on in progress because neither of them are really coming from adult. The victim's coming from child and rescuer's coming from parent. They're not really dealing with challenges. The victim's not upping their game and the boss is not delegating properly. So anyway.
So Greg, I guess people watching this are going to go, okay, I can see where I might get into these sorts of games. So what do I do about it?
Right. So the first thing is, as soon as I sniff a game, and that's my language, I often, oh, this smells a bit like a game to me. I realize there's all these negative scripty feelings going on. If there's a game, the first thing we do is notice the game and then focus on moving into I'm okay, you're okay. Doesn't matter where they are. I'm okay with me and I'm okay with you. I'm not going to play the game.
So what I might do back in our scenario with you doing your big sigh, I might notice the desire or the kind of invitation to come in and go, what can I do to help? But what I can do is reframe that and say, Gregor, you will let me know if there's anything I can do to help, won't you? So again, I'm okay, you're okay, you're perfectly able of reaching out and asking for help if you need it. But equally, I'm going to walk away. I've let you know that I'm there, but I'm not going to just jump in and try and fix it for you.
Yeah. Perfect. You've come from I'm okay, you're okay. You've not got engaged in the game. I'm going to have to get on and do my work. And if I need help, I'm going to have to come and ask for help.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. So what we often, Choi in 1990 came up with this idea of, rather than the karma and drama triangle, of the winner's triangle. So rather than a victim, you have the voicing creator. Okay, so you're still in I'm okay, you're okay, but I'm happy with being a bit vulnerable. I'll voice my vulnerability. I'll say, actually, I need some help here with this report. I can't do everything myself. Okay. From rescuer, rather than a rescuer, you're still caring, but you're the responsible coach enabler, which is what you were doing in that example there. You were saying, I'll be responsible for my stuff. If you need help, let me know and I'll help you.
Yeah.
And rather than persecutor, you're being assertive and you can be a proactive challenger.
So can you can you give an example of what that would look like, Gregor?
Right. So in this situation, I might say, well, this might be a pattern I've noticed in this individual. Say, have you left it till the last minute again?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Well, I think what we need to do is, finish this off this note. And the next time that this comes up, we need to have a talk about it and make sure you schedule in the time. But you're challenging them, but from this position from I'm okay, you're okay as well.
Yeah. So you remove that judgment, but you are being quite direct.
Yeah. If I was still in persecutor, I'd be going, oh, there you go again. Left it till the last minute, you idiot.
Yeah.
Rather than saying, look, this is clearly a challenge for you. We need to put something in place to make sure this doesn't happen again. Otherwise, it's not going to go great in your performance review.
Yeah.
So I realize I'm looking down at the screen because that's where your picture is. I'm not going to be looking very much at the camera. So I'll stop the animation, but I really love Choi's winner's triangle, because these are the three positions I can take rather than being rescuer, persecutor, or victim.
Yes. And what I notice in my coaching work, I'm sure you do too, Gregor, is often we don't necessarily realize that we're caught up in the game until after the event. So it's the walking away going, oh my God, that was so annoying, or why did I do it? Whatever it might be. And that's the opportunity for you to go, hang on a second, using your language, can I sniff a game here? So it's about really starting to pay attention, and you can see it all around you, can't you? You can see it at work, you can see it at home, you can see it on TV shows, and start to notice games that people are in.
Yeah, and I think that would be the recommendation here. Just start noticing games, and if you're getting pulled into a game, move in time. Okay, you're okay. And sometimes it's a matter of just not playing the game, just being silent, walking away, just not playing. And then the game will fizzle out, because you can't play poker with only one player.
Yes. Yeah. So what I tend to do a lot with my clients is if you the other thing we haven't really talked about is you tend to have a preferred starting position on the drama triangle. Doesn't mean you're always going to be there, but a lot of the time. So one of the things you can start to tune into is, I wonder what mine might be. And people often, when you ask them that question, they go, oh yeah, I think I'm the rescuer, or I think I'm the persecutor, or whatever it might be. And so if you know that's your preferred starting position, you can sometimes just, particularly if you're going into a conversation with someone who maybe things aren't always easy with, take a really deep breath, or even 2 deep breaths, intentionally go into that conversation. I'm okay, you're okay, and just watch the tendency to be pulled into fix or whatever it might be. And that, make that a bit of a practice so that you can be quite intentional and quite choiceful about how you go into these interactions.
Yeah. So there may be some like more experienced people watching this and are thinking, wait a minute, I thought the Karpman drama triangle was there because it confirms life script. We didn't want to go into the whole thing about life script. I think the easiest way to think about the drama triangle is people do it because they want strokes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the fundamental motivation for most people playing strokes. There is a deeper thing going on, which is about, people tend to have a life script. But if you get into that, it's then, tell me about that. And people want to label themselves. And I don't think that's really important here. The important thing here is to notice where games occur and stop playing the game.
And sometimes exploring life script can be important, and that might be something you do in therapy as opposed to coaching.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say that would be a lot of the time it is something you would explore in therapy rather than coaching.
Maybe deep. Yeah.
Yeah, but in terms of just seeing what's going on and the basic motivation, I'm going to get into a game because I want the strokes. That can be, my employee keeps on playing these games. Maybe that's because you're not giving them enough recognition in terms of positive strokes. It may not be something that you do naturally as a manager, which is give your people enough recognition, which is why they're playing games. The other thing is they may not be getting enough strokes at home, so they're trying to get them at work. So you never know. It's a complex picture, but I thought that would be a good thing to highlight.
Thinking about those warm fuzzies, I do like that story.
It's great. And I love that metaphor, just thinking, well, if I had an infinite supply of warm fuzzies, what would I do with them? So you can give positive strokes, even though the rules say, certainly in British culture, and it's stiff upper lip and all that, you wouldn't give strokes to yourself, and you might not give stroke to others, but maybe you could.
And I think that's a really important and valuable conversation you can have in coaching as well, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I hope this has been really useful for people.
I've loved it. I love talking about this with you. So I guess our invitation to anyone who's watching this is pay attention to the game that you might be getting drawn into, the games you might notice around you. And just remember, you don't have to play that game. Take a breath, step into I'm okay, you're okay. And do let us know how you get on. If you've got any questions, you can contact us. So thank you so much for taking the time to watch our video. We really appreciate any feedback. And we're really keen to respond to any questions. So please do reach out to us. You can contact us at info@thecoachingquestion.com. And please do give us a rating on iTunes or your preferred podcasting or video platform. It really helps.
Yeah, it really helps us. Thanks, everyone. And we'll see you next time in the Coaching Question.
Thank you.